The Joe Rogan Experience.
It's because everybody's going to be co-opted if you don't.
Well, you're right. Yeah, we better be good then.
Yeah.
For me, the go-to group is the Beatles, and I had this moment where Paul McCartney picked me up at John Lennon Airport. He was driving the car and brought me and kind of showed me where the different neighborhoods of the Beatles, and which was an amazing experience. And he'd stop and he'd say, "Oh, this is where this happened," and that's where. And he said, "Do you mind me telling you this?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" and then he stopped at the traffic lights and he said, "Oh yeah, that's where I had our first real kind of conversation, with me and John." And I said, "Hold on a second, I'm a bit of a Beatles student. Didn't you have that when you were in the Quarrymen and such?" He says, No, it was a different level. He bought a bar of chocolate, and after the war, chocolate was really hard to come by, It was kind of a real luxury. And he bought the bar of chocolate, and he didn't give me a square. He broke it, Cadbury's milk chocolate, broke it in half. And I said, "Oh, so you're into sharing too?" He said, "Yeah." And he said, "I don't know why I'm telling you that." And he drove on, and I just thought, "Oh, I know why you're telling me that." Greatest collaboration, not just in music, in the history of music, maybe the greatest collaboration in the history of culture started with half.
Wow.
They gave it. My mate, Googie, who I just spoke about, who knows all about you and knows all about your sport, he taught me everything he had. And they came, it was tough at times, as I told you, in their house. And he just gave me half of it. Whatever he got, just half. So when we were in U2 and our manager McGuinness says, "You should share everything," I was like, "Yeah, I've been sharing everything. I've been sharing everything anyway." And even now, Edge and myself, we're sitting in our house, we share this place in the south of France. We've been there for 30 years. All our families have kind of grown up there. French are too into themselves to bother us, which is really the way we like it. And we sit there and we think the real owners are going to come.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we still don't really believe this has happened to us. And you know what? I think that's probably right, because we don't really own this stuff. You get it for a short period and then you hand it on. I think something about the four and the way we share is in the sound of our music.
I think
is
so
that
too.
too?
No. I think you're dead right.
I think that when
Yeah.
and I was just standing there with a little tambourine that Jimmy found, but it's him playing the tambourine, and yeah, there's something, again, there's not much scholarship about this type of stuff that you can read up
but
on.
it resonates, right?
But you can feel something.
Yeah, I believe it. I think there's something to it. You've made decisions that have sort of affirmed this commitment to a higher goal. It's not a hierarchy of, who's the lead singer, who's this, who's that. It's not who's the big star. It's just we're all together to do this thing.
I'm in a band where every member of the band thinks they're the leader.
I think that's every band.
And
that happens.
I voted for this.
Yeah.
And it's sort of great.